Hello, everyone. Welcome to Backyard Musings, broadcasting live from Apple Valley. I am Steve.
And I am Scott.
Thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going to talk about over-budget, big idea projects that Dems love because they can slice off money to their donors. We're going to talk about the runaway high-speed, low-drag rail project for my Army buddies. They probably like that. That is $10 billion over budget. Billion with a B. And the Gaza pier boondoggle that is way over budget and considered built in a hazardous zone, right? People getting shot and bullets going over your head.
Yeah, this train that we're going to talk about in California, right? It's been going on for a better part of 20 years, from the time they started talking about it till they started planning it. They started laying track. I don't think any train is run on this thing at all. I don't think it's just...
It's not interconnected.
No, it's a joke.
Even segments aren't running.
It's a joke. So when Governor Newsom unveiled his big, bold idea about a California bullet train 4.5 years ago, and again, his idea of it goes back a lot farther than that. So he proposed a 171-mile segment in the Central Valley that would begin operating in 2023. Well, that was last year. So at a cost of almost $23 billion.
And that's mostly farmland in the Central Valley.
Exactly. I mean, it's not people that are coming into the big city, or I mean, it's a joke. So costs now exceed funding by $10 billion. And billion, yeah. And if anybody hasn't been paying attention, our state is deep in debt. Billions of dollars in debt.
Hey, let's tax though, right?
Yeah, exactly. So costs are now exceeding. I've said that already. And the the estimates have dropped by 25%. The taxpayer-funded cost is now higher than $33 billion estimate for the entire 500-mile LA to San Francisco system, which voters approved in 2008, which is nuts back then. I don't know what anybody was thinking about. Bond it transfers into tax, right? We got to pay for it.
Got to pay for it.
It's money they borrow now, but we got to eventually pay for it, just like a school bond.
We can't call it tax, though.
Cannot.
But we pay for it.
Yeah, it's just like a school bond. Great to talk about it, but then years down the road, somebody's going to have to pay the piper. This means the full system cost setup is going to be about $128 billion, and
there's a gap, right?
Leaving a gap of about $100 billion. What is that? What?
28 billion.
Yeah.
Up to 128. So there's a big gap, right?
Yeah. And I understand costs of material goes up, but that is just nuts.
We need more people in the state to pay taxes, right? But people are fleeing.
Yeah,
so let's get the illegals in.
Yeah,
what do you think?
And we're already upside down in our taxes now. I mean, it's just crazy. Let's levy some more taxes. Tax and spend. Yeah. It's just crazy. And these are they gold? Are they silver? They might as well be right at the price.
Silver's cheaper, so you might. And the werewolves don't like it. So.
But it's softer, right? Isn't it? I guess silver.
It is less malleable.
Yeah.
Or it is more malleable than gold.
Yeah. And what are they going to offer on there? Free Wi-Fi, free baggage check.
They better.
Free. They can't afford free. They got to have to pay for this thing.
No,
somehow.
for this money, they better. What?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do that. I'm not riding the thing. You won't catch me
from
going
LA
to San Francisco.
No,
I'm not going to San Francisco. And I'm sure if I do go to San Francisco, I'm not going to LA first.
It's specifically to get Ghirardelli chocolate, and I can get that online.
Yeah, exactly. You go to the grocery and buy it. Whatever. So. And California has lost accountability for $24 billion in homeless expenditures. Billion. We're talking billion here. This is big bucks.
For homeless. Where did it go, man?
Yeah, so
they can't find it.
This is all smoke and mirrors. It's just a joke.
What the heck's going on?
Where is this money going? Just like that $200 billion. Is it 20 billion or 200 billion that's been spent on homelessness? The homeless. I think it may be 20 billion. I hope it's 20 billion and not 200 billion.
In LA or what?
California.
Yeah.
And they're auditing. I heard Newsom the other day audited talking
it's
about that.
It's some auditor that didn't write it down. Some accountant. We're gonna find that accountant. We're gonna fire him.
Yeah, he is a slick willy, I'm telling you. But anyway,
Okay, let's move over to the Gaza pier.
yeah, this is Biden's
Biden
fiasco, right?
promised this at the State of the Union. Remember that energized State of the Union where everybody thought, "Oh, he's got a heartbeat. We're good to go." Right? Remember that? Well, Biden's $320 million Gaza pier, I said million, is now over budget by $160 million. So it's
Same
doubled.
direction.
Double.
Same direction, right?
You would have thought, well, so but probably what happened was, oh, you want 2 piers? Oh, okay, that's $320 million. And it's under constant threat of attack, right? Small arms fire mainly, not RPGs, but small arms fire. Some think that this is a purely political misadventure. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, I mean, what are they doing this for? Fly the stuff in. Let's not send it over there. Let's
Like
just fly
airdrop
it in.
it?
Yeah, airdrop it, you know. Land it in Israel and
Airborne
ship
units
it
do
in.
that, yeah.
You know, they'll do that, but I don't know.
And the Israelis, they won't raid and confiscate all the goods. They'll just actually give them, they'll
Yeah.
get it across the line.
Yeah,
Then let Hamas raid it, right?
that it'll get to the point that it needs to be, right?
So I can speak to this personally as a subject matter expert, and I'll tell you why. I was a platoon leader in a port construction engineer company from 1995 to 1999. Then I took command of that company from 2001 until I deployed in 2003. So we were responsible for pile driving on the shore, quay walls, pier buildings on these piles, and all the infrastructure associated with a pier, like the water, the gas, the electricity, you know, getting it from the shore to the pier,
Right.
and every other kind of facility. I could do this all while providing force protection. I mean, my guys had rifles on them and pistols and stuff. However, if force protection was provided by others, our pace of construction greatly increased because we could focus on pile driving and electrical and all that, right? If somebody else is provided, like the Marines or an Army unit. And these would not be temporary piers. These would be permanent. And Biden's handlers proposed temporary piers. All right, what is that, temporary?
Well, again, and are we going to take it back? Or is somebody going to dismantle that and sell it?
Dismantle
and scrap it.
Yeah, and if we're not protecting it, they'll dismantle it on the spot.
Yeah, it's going to be destroyed.
Like when I did a mission in Egypt, they would strip the conduit and the conductors and plywood, everything.
Whatever,
we did a
whatever
mission.
they could use or sell,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We were outfitted just like a CB unit, exactly like a CB company. We could do all that they could do. So why don't we send in a port construction unit? There were 2 in the Army, both reserves, one in Puerto Rico and one in California. It'd be excellent training for them in a hazardous zone.
And they'd get it done, right?
Get it done. That's their job.
Exactly.
You know? That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. This boondoggle apparently requires destroyers to be on station for countermeasures, for defense. You know, when these piers are attacked. That's overkill. I mean,
Definitely.
You know,
definitely.
The idea was noble to facilitate the delivery of humanitarian aid to the territory, but they could do it, like we said earlier, they could do it differently. The piers were completed May 9th.
So there's one like offshore and one right on the shore, these piers.
Okay. And but they faced difficulty during deployment over the following week. The longer the pier is, there is to be maintained, the more it costs, the cost of the 2 destroyers on station. They're not even included in that $320 million.
That's a lot of money for destroyers and sailors and munitions and gas.
Yeah. Food for those guys. I mean, so couldn't we use those destroyers
somewhere else?
Well,
against the Iranians or something,
place, right? I agree with that.
There's an opportunity cost there that we're losing because they're on station in Gaza instead of protecting shipping in the Suez Canal.
Yeah. So what happens to the aid once it's delivered?
Well, I'll tell you what happens.
Exactly. The warlords are going to take it. You know, they're going to just gobble it up and they're going to use it for themselves. It's not going to get to the common
They might
Palestinian.
cut some off, but
Yeah, but
it's for their fighters and stuff.
yeah, exactly.
For the
So-
muckety mucks, so they can have nice dinners.
and they're
And tunnels.
These piers are getting some damage from sea conditions.
The waves coming in, but one broke off. One part broke off, and then an army unit, which we used to work with, have landing craft. They got they got beached trying to recover it, and they've got cables that they shoot out and anchor in so they can pull themselves back in. That is embarrassing.
Well,
Embarrassing.
yeah, and again, a waste of time and energy, right? Having to do that. And is this thing just to appease some voters in Michigan who voted against him?
Yeah,
you
there
know,
was like
Biden.
a bunch of voters that said no vote for the primary. Remember that?
Yeah.
Big uproar.
This is just a policy shift against Israel, and it's
Whiplash, the way they, we're for, we're against. We're for, we're against.
this is just our tax dollars being wastefully spent. It's unfortunate.
And he's forgiving student debt. He doesn't care about the money.
He doesn't.
Spend. We'll tax you, but we gotta spend.
Well, and again, I think we've mentioned this before. He's not going to be around when this stuff is due. He's going to be
one foot
long
in the
gone.
grave,
Either not in office or unfortunately, assumed room temperature. So it's it's a bad thing. And again, just spending it like we got tons of money and we don't.
We don't.
We're in debt up
We're
to
about
our
to hit
eyeballs.
hyperinflation probably in the next couple of years, unless there's a regime change.
Well, we're hoping
We
for
hope.
that.
Yeah.
We're hoping for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, folks, I just want to point out one thing over my shoulder here. That's a monkey bars that I built for Cameron. I built it out of a spare aluminum ladder we had, and I've set up a little wood, pressure treated, and went right to the play thing. And he loves climbing on that. He loves it.
Get some energy out, huh?
Cameron. And the neighborhood kids love it too.
I bet.
All right, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
You guys have a great day. Take care.
Bye. I built